Okay, thank you so much. You can hear me correctly now. I'm so sorry for this to be previous broken. And we can continue. Mr. Güzel. Güzel is here in this platform on the station.
Do you mean me?
Are you?
Hasibe Aysan?
Yes, Mr.
Your voice is
and
interrupted. Egehan Özkan, my co-author.
Okay, you can start.
Okay, I'm starting.
And I cannot find you here on my list. I'm so sorry for this. So I cannot
No, it's
announce
okay.
your topic. Thank you.
Okay, I'm announcing our topic. Legitimation of menstrual leave lessons for Turkish business context is our title. And thank you for providing this opportunity to us, because indeed it's first time I am attending to a conference on the metaverse platform, and it's exciting. We have, to be honest, I took help from my 11-year-old son, because he is much more talented than me in using an avatar. But now I am ready to present. And so next slide, please. We can start. So it's a research idea. Menstrual legitimation of menstrual leave and lessons for Turkish context is a research idea. We are just at the beginning of our research with my co-author, Dr. Egehan Özkan Alakaş, because it's a very hot topic, popular topic, and as working women, we are interested in the topic. And me and my co-author, we will be excited to start this research, a long-term research, and we will be glad if you can provide your feedback and your ideas about our research idea to us. First, let me explain what is menstrual leave, and I will explain its current situation together with its historical evolution at the same time. And menstrual leave is a type of leave taken by individuals who are menstruating and having a difficulty to attend to a workplace because of this. And this leave can be paid or unpaid leave depending on the context and depending on the contextual regulations and the employer as well. And menstrual leave goes back to its history goes back to the 1920s Soviet Russian period. And the idea behind it is to provide equal and inclusive workplace for all individuals, and especially to provide incentive for women to join to the workplace. And we see in 1940s some labor union efforts in Japan, and currently in South Korea, Zambia, Indonesia, China, and Taiwan, there are regulations, and other countries also exist as well, especially in Africa and Asia. It's very interesting. On the other hand, in United States, United Kingdom, and Australia, there is no statewide regulation, but it depends on the employers decide to give or not to give menstrual leave for their menstruating workers. And recently, in Italian Assembly, some representatives give a proposal, but it has been refused. And last year in Spain provided a state by law to all workers menstruating paid leave. So the debate got much popular then after. Next slide, please. So if it is popular, it doesn't mean that it's worth to study. So we checked the literature with studying this issue, and we see that menstrual leave is a topic of anthropology, sociology, especially feminist sociology studies. However, we see plenty of studies concerning menstrual leave and especially stigmatization towards women related with workplace in organizational studies and business studies as well, and it captured our attention. And in the literature, majority of the literature concerning this topic categorize actors involved in the process as opponents and proponents. And proponents claim that these efforts are meaningful steps towards breaking decades of stigma about women and strategies to empower women's status at work. Opponents, on the other hand, claim that these policies will lessen economic efficiency or lead to women's special treatment and will cause another form of stigmatization. And some opponents claim that there may be an abuse on usage of menstrual leave. There may be some complaints from non-menstruating workers, for example, so it will lead to a discrimination in the workplace. So we see that there is no consensus in the literature, according to the studies, as I can say. Next slide, please. And from that point, we switch to our area of study, organizational and business studies with my co-author, and we see that topic is closely related with the legitimation concept or legitimacy concept, which is a major concept in organizational studies, especially since 1991. That year, Sushman first described the legitimacy as a concept, and Scott also expanded his ideas. And as I said before, legitimacy became a central concept in organizational. In organizational studies, legitimacy as a concept has been studied as a resource, according to the resource dependency theory, for example, as a tool in strategical perspective, and from a new institutionalism perspective, it has been studied as a socially constructed construct. And in this study, we decided to approach to legitimacy and legitimation as a process from strategic perspective. And it seems that some prevalence of legislations and existence of some social movements across countries prove existence of cognitive legitimacy. It is at the cognitive level accepted by communities. However, there is a surprise here. Although any kind of positive discrimination can be seen as a positive thing in our workplaces, concept of stigma emerged, especially from the opponent's point of view. So stigma exists when elements of labeling, stereotyping, separation, or status loss and discrimination co-occur in a power situation that allows components of stigma. So when we see that in across countries there is a lack of consensus in terms of legitimation of menstrual leave, we find a good, how can I say, empirical context available to study legitimation process as a multi-dynamic and multi-actor process. And maybe we can expand rhetorical strategies that are used by different point of views managing the process of legitimation, which may cause actors to categorize beyond proponent and opponent division. We can categorize and call them from different conceptual framework. Next slide, please. Next slide. Okay, so at this point we have got three overarching research questions which we want to find an answer. How legitimation of menstrual leave unfolds in different contexts, how legitimation efforts of menstrual leave lead to unexpected negative outcomes of destigmatization, and which strategies can be used by managers to overcome these unexpected outcomes of destigmatization. You can switch to the other slide. So in terms of methodology, this will be a qualitative study in which we will not use indeed a ground theory approach. What does it mean that we will, 1 minute, a qualitative study, it will not be a grounded theory approach because literature, theory, I said before, legitimation theory, strategical perspective will lead our process of analysis and process of data collection. So theory leads us, so we cannot call it as a pure grounded theory approach. We are aiming to collect the data by interviews and by focus group discussions and from some secondary data sources. We will make interviews with employers, especially women workers, and thus it will be a purposive sampling. I'm sure that we will make some kind of a snowball sampling here as well. And we will analyze the data using some coding procedures. As I said before, it will not be a grounded theory approach, so probably we will use theoretical coding. But for my personal experiences, I like making open coding to any kind of data that we will collect as well. And emerging themes and iterations between data and literature will end up with a proposed conceptual frame of legitimation and strategic management of destigmatization in Turkish context. This is our aim. And next slide, please. So at the end, what we expect from this study, we expect to contribute to the legitimation, stigmatization, and strategic management literatures, and we expect to provide a conceptual frame in which practical solutions, together with theoretical contributions, of course, for Turkish context will be provided, and we expect to use some data collection tools such as focus group discussion. Indeed, it's a very interesting way of collecting data, but it's not used in organizational studies in Turkish context. So we will use focus group discussions, especially among working women, which is not very prevalent in Turkish organizational studies. So that's the end of my speech. I will be glad if you will ask your questions and add your comments in it to us. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I'm interested for your presentation. Just I'm gonna ask you the basic question. What is the best description of stigma?
What is the best? Stigma occurs when stigma occurs in organizational setting when someone uses his or her status just because of some attributes that he or she has by nature. And this can be prevented by regulations and by the attitudes of employers as well. However, in menstrual leave, the situation is much more complicated because of the gender debates that we are facing nowadays, and who is menstruating or who is not, and there is a risk of using abuse of menstruating. So who can prove who is a menstruating period now, for example? So it may cause to intimacy control of people. So some women, for example, discuss that even though they may get the benefit of menstrual leave, they don't need such a leave because they don't want to prevail their privacy to their workplace. So it is also a stigmatization. So when menstrual leave tries to give an opportunity for women or menstruating people, let's say, a positive opportunity, let's say, it may become a stigma from another perspective. So I think we will find some interesting results when we start to talk with the people.
Yes, thank you so much. All this kind of information, really, I appreciate that. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr.